are places that are sunny, there are places that are quaint, there are places that are funny, and a lot of them that ain't. But there's one place in your folder, only one that gets you here. It's the land of Dyke and Polder, of great virtues and good cheer. Come to Holland, come to Holland. It's as flat and as even as Twiggy in her teens. Come to Holland, come to Holland. It's so densely populated you keep thinking of sardines. Come to Holland, come to Holland. Where the people speak the English fluently. Hear the story of our seagoing tradition. We're so crowded that we have to go to sea. See our red and ruddy faces. See the dimple in our chin. See our cows with so much milk that the people turn to gin. Feel the muscles on our women, all from pedaling our bikes. And see our fingers that are swollen, all from plugging up our dykes. Come to Holland, come to Holland. There is culture in the air, in the faces, in the names. Come to Holland, come to Holland. Where a lot of people look as if they ought to be in frames. Come to Holland, come to Holland. Where you still see Rembrandt's mother take a nap. And when you go around the corner in a streetcar, a Rubens woman may fall plump into your lap. In this country of canals, you are not safe without a boat. Be as clever as the Dutch, wear wooden shoes to stay afloat. And be sure to make your memories as vivid as you can. Buy a souvenir from Holland, made in Hong Kong or Japan. Come to Holland, come to Holland, where it's heaven for the British to feel a London smog again. Come to Holland, come to Holland, where the masochists assemble to suffer from the rain. Come to Holland, come to Holland, where the food is, ja, generally good. A fat land of milk and of honey, unless you forget to bring money. Where the hearts of the people are as big as the country is small. Come to Holland, come to Holland, but it may take one whole day to see it all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show, welcome to Amsterdam. By the way, are you sure you are in Amsterdam? You may have heard of the American lady on conductor tour through Europe who said, if it is Tuesday, this must be Belgium. So what day is it today? Friday night. So this is Amsterdam. Glad we got that settled. Yes, this touring business can be so damn confusing. A couple of months ago, I was in the United States to brush up my English. And when I said I was from Holland, one fellow said, gee, what a small world, and you must know my friend in Oslo. It is a small world, and the world is becoming smaller and smaller all the time, so before it's too late, let's begin the show. It's called The Truth Behind the Dykes. And I intend to tell you tonight the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me, Richard. My name is Paul van Vliet. What's so funny about this? Paul van Vliet. Paul, not Paul, Paul, like in St. Pauli. And Vliet is like a bunch of battleships with a V. And Van is not like Van, but Van, like the Germans count. 1, 2, 3. Some of you may have noticed that we are doing this show in English. But the trouble with English is always what to speak, American English or English English. We learn English at school, that is to say English English. But many of the Dutch people you'll meet speak American English. And that's the influence of American records, American movies, and second-hand TV series. Very confusing. I told you, I went to the United States to brush up my English because American English is so much easier for us. Take that well-known Sonata hit. It's 2:45, there's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. Got a little story you ought to know. Now, if this song had been written in English, it would go like, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2:45 by my watch. The establishment is quite deserted. No one but you and I remain. So, if it is not too much of an inconvenience, would you be so kind as to replenish my glass, Joseph? Something rather curious has happened to me recently, and if I'm not imposing on you, I'd like to discuss it with you at length. Very confusing. The Americans say truck, the English say lorry. I saw an American the other day, hit by a truck. He got up and said, if that was a lorry, this must be England. And these differences will always remain. The Americans and the British, they will never meet. When the Americans are on the sidewalk, the British will stay on the pavement. When the Americans take a streetcar, the British will go by tram. And even when they're going to the same theater like tonight, the Americans sit in the orchestra and the British in the stalls. But wherever you're sitting below sea level. Did you know that? No, not on the balcony. You're safe there. That's where the Dutch are. Just downstairs. That's why the seats are more expensive downstairs. It's only fair that you help us pay for the Dykes. But upstairs and downstairs, you have one thing in common. You are in Amsterdam, the capital. And I was born and bred in the Hague, the seat of the government. Oh, by the way, when you do go to the Hague, don't miss Maduro Dam, the miniature town. We put it up because it makes the surrounding country look bigger. When the plans were drawn up, we knew that we had to have American know-how. So we found a New York firm, told them about a project. They sent over 2 engineers. They landed in Amsterdam, looked around and said, so you started without us. The Hague is an established place, a place of things that last. It has no hectic history, it has no troubled past. In Parliament, The Hague has all the action that it needs. But otherwise, not too much practice in heroic deeds. The population hesitates to tread where dangers lurk. The people don't go to extremes, they'd rather go to work. A town that honestly cannot be classified as swinging. No wonder people never feel the need to burst out singing. The Hague is an elderly lady, a lady too old to be gay, too old to be naughty, too old to be shady. The Hague is as wild as the YMCA. The Hague makes you feel like retiring. There's that Victorian nip in the air. The Hague where the people are hardly inspiring, content and phlegmatic, hardly poetic, not unsympathetic, but hopelessly square. can't sing of Amsterdam. So many other people have done this before me. Mind you, once I tried to find some inspiration for a song about Amsterdam, and stepping back to admire one of the beautiful facades, I fell into one of the canals. A tour boat happened to be passing, and instead of helping me, the guide explained my accident in French, English, and German. If ever this happens to you, don't panic, just yell. There's bound to be a sex shop round the corner, and the people will oblige by throwing some of the inflatables. Have you noticed our sex shops? The illustrated literature you'll find there is incredible. Incredible. We are very glad that Denmark joined the common market, because that brought down the prices of the magazines. They're all from Copenhagen. And it was Hans Christian Andersen who started it all. With that story of the emperor who had no clothes on. The other day, I happened to be in one of the sex shops. Of course, not for myself. But I have a nephew doing a thesis on the sexual behavior of the Danish lesbian. And I was amazed how many other people have a nephew doing a thesis on the sexual behavior. Amsterdam, city of bars and museums. We have the cultured people, when it rains, they take shelter in a museum. And we have the non-cultured people, when it rains, they take shelter in a bar. And then we have the regular people, they are in a bar whether it rains or not. Oh wait, I forgot one group. They are in a museum when it doesn't rain. Called tourists. Queuing up in front of the Rijksmuseum to see Rembrandt's Night Watch. A huge painting. So it's great for groups. And if you don't like the old stuff, we have a brand new Van Gogh museum. No, not Van Gogh, not Van Gogh, Van Gogh. Van Gogh. As children, we gargle 6 times a day to get that sound down. Vincent van Gogh, the famous painter who cut off his left ear. Cut off his left ear and mailed it to a prostitute. And she was very surprised because she didn't need one. And now for your information. This is surprising Amsterdam, a capital of the Netherlands, metropolis of sin, the last of the red-hot cities, where you'll find 500,000 skirt-raising bicycles, 50,000 succulent herrings in the roar, 5,000 public conveniences, running into 500 lasciviously winding canals, covered by 50 provokingly curved bridges, leading to 5 museums with 500 scintillating nudes, 4 illuminated baroque towers with phallic steeples, 3 mysterious parks with 30,000 lurking dropouts, 2 railway stations to get the hell out of here, and 1 Olympic football stadium packed to the gills with 100,000 frenzied followers of our soccer champion Ajax, celebrating the new European religion called Holy Cup football.
Come, let us congregate and let us kneel together around the grassy field in honor of the venerated sphere of leather. And let us pray and sing and let it ring out from the cliffs of Dover that we shall win the cup and that our cup will not be merely full, it will run over. Come blow the trumpets to the glory of the noble game we sing to. For there come rising from their crypt the saints that in these latter days we cling to. They humbly bend their knees and make their genuflections in the most athletic manner. So rattle now your rattle, blow your horn and raise the slogan on your banner. And let us read respectfully the holy writings on the billboards all around us of Shell and Coca-Cola and deodorants for the unholy odors that surround us. And we beseech the blessing for the all-seeing, all-recording eye the TV has planted. For those to whom the fortitude to rise up from their easy chair at home has not been granted. Hear ye the silver instrument with which the high priest will be leading from temptation. Behold the holy sacrament of tossing up before the congregation. So let a silver coin be flipped and grant us all good graces. So we shall have the wisdom for the choice, sun in the rear or in our faces. And let us now compose ourselves and humbly think of winning. The whistle has been blown, the balls departed from a foot, the service is beginning. Oh, may these precious hours yield us their fruits, may they be joyful and exciting, with kicking shins and pulling hairs and calling names and spitting, pinching, tripping and plain biting. The sanctuary trembles with the mighty pass from number 7. Rejoice and sing a goal. 100,000 throats carry the news on earth and into heaven. We are anointed with the oil of gladness, which accounts for all the shining faces. Now kiss the sacred soil and kiss the ball and kiss the corner flag and kiss each other in the most peculiar place. And let us pray and let us kneel and let us humbly say, so be it. And in a wide procession show the silver cup to all who wish to see it. And give each believer pieces of the garments of the saints, the shirts, the shorts, the socks, and other hallowed clothes. So he may carry them as relics on his breast, the scent of honest sweat fresh in his nose. And let the coach be praised as oracle, as witness of Jehovah, who as a prophet and believer knew it all along, as he is very proud to say now that the game is over. Come cheer and praise the greatest joy that ever was created. A game of twice 3/4 of an hour. The ball is round, a puffed up rubber bladder, and the whole thing is inflated.
Let's face it, we are overpopulated. People are practically standing shoulder to shoulder, and to make room for you tourists in July, we go on a diet in April. Do you know why swimming is a national sport in Holland? We have to take turns using the land. Do you see people swimming during the day? That's the night shift. And nowadays we can get rid of some of the overpopulation by pumping them into one of the international aid organizations. And by this way we become the white witch doctor with that new black magic called development aid. They give a little whistle and we're ready to obey. They give a little whimper and the Peace Corps on its way. They say the word and we ship the advisors here and now. We're dying to develop them, and baby, we know how. We send ideas to the careers. We send professors to Peru. We send the millions to the Brazilians and tell the Africans exactly what to do. We send our volunteers to Upper Volta, carpenters to Congo, Brazzaville. We send our social workers to Somali. We send billions, but we never send a bill. A caterpillar to Manila and cattle to Cameroon. A farmer's hand to Rio Grande and an air conditioning repairman to Rangoon. We send a sewer system to Samoa. We handle birth control in Ecuador. We send the pills and then the obstetricians, just in case they don't know what the pills are for. Coca-Cola to Angola, pop-up toasters to Trinidad. We hand out candy in the Andes, and they really need our dentists after that. We have our engineers in San Domingo. We have our doctors in the Philippines. We have a lot of nurses in Nairobi, and they are somehow better liked than the Marines. And tomorrow, when the work is done, when the crews come back, when we save the last poor devil from his miserable shack, when there's farming in the desert and TV in Kathmandu, then I know of a place where there is still a lot to do. In Western Europe, in the big cities, in Western Europe, that's where it's at. In Western Europe, that's where we need you. That's where we must have all the help that we can get. Here we need the doctors for the highways, civil engineers for soundproof walls, missionaries for the inner city, and psychiatrists for obscene calls. We need advisors on tranquilizers. We need cars with better brakes. We need devices for rising prices and a machine to clean the water in the lakes. We need ministers to help us love our neighbor, gardeners for cities built of stone. We need nurses for the breakdowns and depressions, and we need help for those who are alone. And send some quiet from Uganda and some patience from Nepal, open spaces from Rwanda, and some unpolluted air from Senegal. Western Europe had the troubles of tomorrow. Western Europe shows the world its ugly face. Send the money, send the experts, send the Peace Corps. Western Europe, a very urgent case. What's in a name? Who said it?
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, very good. That's why I like to quote well-known authors. Makes the audience feel so intelligent. What's in a name, said by William Shakespeare. I found it in the complete works of William Shakespeare when I was reading one of the complete works, William Shakespeare. But he was wrong, of course. Because there is a lot in a name. The whole character of a nation can be found in the sound of the names of the heads of state. Den Eul. Papadopoulos. Mariano Giovanni Ruba. Nixon. Brezhnev. But there are no names I love more than the Scottish names. And here's a song about it. It's about the Scottish names and about the one and only generous Scot, Marian MacDonald. Though even she believed that the best things in life are free. Did you hear the story of the bonny Scottish lass, Marian MacDonald from the Highlands? As pretty a young lassie as ever came to pass, with a heart as big as all the British Islands. She loved the joy of giving, and she loved her fellow men, and loved to look upon them as her brothers. And be it in her bedroom or way down in the glen, she shared all that she had with all the others. With Fred MacPherson and with Greg MacGregor, with Kirk McCorkle and with Ken McClure, with Dan McDougall and with Bert McBride. At Marian's bedroom door they stood in line. Men had been her hobby ever since she was a kid. They all could share in what she was endowed with. And both the parson and the priest were jealous, for she did that kind of social work you draw a crowd with. She always had 5 minutes for an undernourished male, even made it 10 if he was greedy. She felt that she could be a Scottish Florence Nightingale, and in her own small way could help the needy, such as Fred MacPherson and Greg MacGregor, Kirk McCorkle and Ken McClure, Dan McDougall and Bert McBride. At Marian's bedroom door they stood in line. She married a librarian with a kilt and a gold watch, husband of good manners and good standing. The wedding day was marvelous, the town ran out of scotch, cause all of Marian's boyfriends were attending. They lined up for the whiskey and they lined up for the bride. It took them 7 hours to do the kissing. And all those 7 hours she had an aching heart inside, when realizing what she would be missing. She would be missing Fred MacPherson, Greg MacGregor, Kirk McCorkle, Ken McClure, Simon McSwingle, and Edith McGorkle, and Dan McDougall, and Bert McBride. And when her husband, waiting for the signal from the second floor, at last came to the bedroom door, he had to stand in line as number 9. He had to stand in line as number 9. He had to stand in line as number 9. Yes, he had to stand in line as number 9. Little girls with legs that go on growing, bodies that keep bumping into things, not exactly knowing where they're going, but somehow someone somewhere pulls the strings. Have to wear the hand-me-downs their sisters used to wear. Have to live with mothers that want ribbons in their hair. Hate to go to summer camps, but daddies don't agree. So 80 little girls there are as lonely as can be. Girls of 13, not very happy. Girl of 13, just in between. Too old for the dolls and too old for the toys. Too little for love, too young for the boys. Their pug noses still are too red and too shiny. The diaries they keep to confide in are tiny. Tiny are most of the troubles they've seen. Girls of 13, just in between. Faces that are delicate and dreamy, hair that offers little hope for girls, feeling very feminine and special, want to stick together, just the girls, giggling at movie stars and giggling at men, giggling at breakfast and still giggling at 10. Giggling at each other and their own bewildering ways, giggling to pass the time until the better days. Girl of 13, not very happy. Girl of 13, just in between. Too old for the dolls and too old for the toys, too little for love, too young for the boys. Just halfway a woman, just halfway in bloom, a dress with a neckline, but plenty of room. Girl of 13, just in between. Dream of the day they start life at 14.
One of the things you can be certain of in Holland is bad weather. Yes, it's a rainy country. Not this ridiculous summer, but normally. A rainy country. Every year we have this wet period, which includes winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And at the end of the year, we are all dreaming of a wet Christmas. So-called wet Christmas dream. Yes, it's a rainy country. It rains so often in Holland that when I was young, I thought that rain was a normal thing. I never forget the day the sun came out. I was 12 then. My old grandmother was one of the few citizens who had seen sunshine before, as she was called in by the government to identify it. We have two types of weather, bad and very bad. It's so easy to make the forecast that in Holland weather forecasting counts as unskilled labor. In predicting bad weather you can't go wrong, and if you do, people are so happy that they don't blame you. But all this rain fits in with our reputation of a clean country. For that's what we are. A small country, but ladies and gentlemen, a clean country. Our housewives scrub and wash and clean from early morning till late afternoon. And in the evening, they all leave the curtains open to show the neighbors the result. I know that some of you foreigners here tonight think that our cleanliness is only on the outside, that we love to wash our cars but hate to wash ourselves. I know that there are some foreigners here tonight who think that we never change our socks. But let me tell you this, we change our socks every morning. the left sock to the right foot. And to avoid mistakes in the morning, we keep them on during the night. Well, you know, clean living is one of the many complexes a Dutchman consists of. And one of the things he suffers from most is inhibitions.
He'd love to be a bit more easygoing,
A social kind of fellow who slaps everybody's back,
who keeps the party going,
knows everyone worth knowing, half Sammy Davis Jr. and half Burt Beckery.
He'd love to be a little bit more daring, and every now and then disturb the peace,
Or bring a luscious girl home and see the neighbors staring,
and have the guts to tell them later on 'twas not his niece. But he's inhibited, he's decent as he's Dutch. He's so inhibited, he cannot improvise too much, as every man of pure Dutch stock. He has this shockproof mental block. He doesn't play or go astray.
he's got this backbone 10 feet long.
And for him it's realistic
To be merely Calvinistic,
knowing if you really want to, then it's wrong. And he'd love to be
a bit more temperamental,
make a patriotic speech on Liberation Day,
and use his hands and use his feet, and get so sentimental that finally his own emotions carry him away.
and he'd love to be a little bit more Latin, and dance as if the last dance was today, happily surrender
into arms of silk and satin,
and not come to his senses until the break of day. But he's inhibited, he's decent as he's Dutch. He's so inhibited, he cannot improvise too much. A little hypochondriac, as if the world was on his back. And then he knows that where he goes,
the 10 Commandments go along.
and from morning until eventide, he has this little voice inside, saying, if you really want to, then it's wrong. And he'd love to be a little more romantic, climb up to someone's balcony and play on a guitar, or win a war to prove his love, or conquer the Atlantic. Dutch would like to do the things, but you know how they are. And he'd love to show a little more emotion, and not only after everyone has gone, but show that he is human and cry himself an ocean. He'd really love to do this, but he isn't letting on. He's so inhibited, he's decent as he's Dutch. He's so inhibited, he cannot improvise too much. He is as solid as a rock. He is a chip of the old block. He thinks a lot of thou shalt not, and comes to miss most of the fun. And he does by his austerity his duty to posterity. So most of what he'd really want to do just isn't done. Fairy tales are with us every day. Gold is still our favorite precious metal, and though it is a long time since the last frog turned into a prince, still every little Hansel gets his Gretel. Fairy tales are with us every day. We've got electric elves to do the dishes. We still possess those magic wands. They now make redheads out of blondes. King Credit Card fulfills our many wishes. Fairy tales are with us every day. The poor still try their luck and sometimes make it. The emperor's new clothes today are seen in every other play, but no more little boys to say he's naked. Fairy tales are with us every day, and Cinderella still can reach the summit. If she attends the royal ball, she needn't worry after all. Prince Pepsodent has helped to overcome it. Fairy tales are with us every day. The mirror on the wall still doesn't flatter. We made a giant step somehow. We poison our own apples now. No wicked fairy queen could do it better. Fairy tales are with us every day. We're either slaying dragons or pretending. We're happy that in many ways we reenact the olden days, but we are not so sure about the ending. The sea spoke up that afternoon and said all will be over soon. So often I am wondering if people know, she said, about the years of suffering and weariness I've had. There are days that I'm choked with the waste of the land. There are days that I feel that the end is at hand. That's what the sea said, and she wasn't even trying to hide from me that she is slowly dying. I know that you have wonderful reports, she said to me, predicting poisoned continents in a polluted sea. But all this writing on the wall will quickly disappear, for interested parties just don't want the world to hear. That's what the sea said, and there's little use denying. She's slowly and inevitably dying. I used to feel so young at the arrival of the summer, with laughter on the beaches and children playing ball. But now I feel like warning all these unsuspecting people. Look out, coming too close may not be good for you at all. That's what the sea said, and she wasn't even crying, just slowly and inevitably dying. In November and December I sometimes lose my temper, battering all the dykes and pounding every beach, beating at their doors in angry desperation, hoping against hope there will be someone I can reach. Hoping against hope just a few of them will hear and understand the reason for my anger and my fear. But no one hears and no one cares, they go on as before. And soon I will not fight this losing battle anymore. That's what the sea said, and she was no longer trying, just slowly and inevitably dying. The sea was still a while, and I was simply standing there, and I asked if there was something I could do. The sea gave it some thought, and then she said, just see to it that you tell your son and daughter that mine's a simple medicine, just water. That's what the sea said, and there's little use denying. She slowly and inevitably died. That's what the sea said, and she wasn't even trying to hide from me that she is slowly dying. That's what the sea said, and she wasn't even crying, just slowly and inevitably dying. That's what the sea said, and she was no longer trying, just slowly and inevitably dying. And when the sea's no longer trying, what it means is that the world itself is slowly dying. And when next week you're back to normal in your homeland once again, you're looking at your snapshots that are ruined by the rain, your luggage that was missing a computer's fault again is recovered from a pawn shop in a distant part of Spain. Dream of Holland, think of Holland, though the landmarks of today are American hotels. Dream of Holland, think of Holland, though the windmills made you nervous and you still have dizzy spells. Dream of Holland, think of Holland, though the cheese you bought is coming out your ears. Where the people are all bureaucratic, erratic but so democratic, that even the Queen took her children to school on a bike. And come back to Holland, come back to Holland, before he pulls that finger from the dike.